We did go, but we didn't swim very much. We just went down and played on the beach. But it's not there anymore because when they built the Seaway, the St. Lawrence Seaway, it raised the level of the lake, so the sandy beach all disappeared.
Daddy?
Lake Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say that's the only place. We had, in Newark, we had Perkins Park, which had a small pool, well, relatively small.
Waiting pool.
It was for wading primarily, and you could sit in it and what have you. And it was big enough to accommodate 75, 80 people, I guess. And they drained the water up, they fed the water in and it fed out, but they had a little system of raising or lowering the level of water. They had a little slide set up with a wood, you lift the slide up and the water would run out and you put it back down and then let it raise up again. So you had a level you could swim at.
And what did people wear to go swimming in the 30s? Bikinis?
Definitely not bikinis.
Most of them had, women, I think, probably would wear most of them a swimming suit with a skirt,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
a small skirt.
Not stockings
No,
at that
no,
point.
no, no,
Okay.
that was a little bit earlier than that.
Mm-hmm.
And most men's swimming wear was almost like a wool material.
Knit.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Another question from someone that hasn't asked a question yet? Anybody? Okay. Gabriel.
Did you go to baseball games?
Did you go to baseball games in the 30s?
In the 30s, oh yeah. My father was a semi-professional baseball player. And so but he did this basically before I remember that much about it. But he played with a semi-professional team in Sodus, New York. And they take the trolley from Newark over to Sodus every Sunday to play ball. But he also played softball. And I'd go to the softball games with him as a rule. And after he finished playing career was over, he was managed almost exclusively for about 25 years.
Grandpa managed a team?
Yeah, yeah. And I was a bat boy until I got a little bit bigger. So I went to a lot of ball games. And of course we had, being from Newark, the New York Yankees had a farm team in Newark, New Jersey. And when Newark came to play, when the Newark Bears came to play the Rochester Red Wings, they had what they called Newark Night. And they'd have maybe a little train of 45 or 50 cars going up to the ballpark. And they'd have reserved a big section in this Red Wing Stadium for the Newark residents to sit and cheer for their
nice.
team.
Nice. Now tell us a little bit about your background in baseball, because you played baseball too.
I played in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And,
You refereed, your father.
well,
You and your father
yeah,
both were
my
refs.
father and I both umpired ball games.
Umpire.
And I played softball basically until a couple years after I got married. And we had some of the children. And she says, you can't go around playing all the time, you gotta be serious about things. So I started umpiring for money at the time. And my father also was still umpiring at the same time.
Very good. Mom, oh, did you go to baseball games, Mom?
After we were married.
Was your family involved in sport?
Well, when I was in high school, I used to go to the sports games in high school. Not soccer, although I liked soccer, but we couldn't do that because we had to go home and work on the farm.
Mm-hmm.
But basketball and stuff on high school time.
Okay.
That was in the 40s, early 40s.
One last question, anybody? Deanna,
What was the cost of some items that you would buy on a regular basis?
in the 30s
In the
or
30s.
whenever you can remember?
Yeah, when you can remember.
Like bread or milk, a
A
gallon of
nickel
milk?
for a loaf of bread,
Oh, yeah.
How much?
a nickel,
Wonder bread?
Any kind.
Wonder bread, anytime, any
That was one
bakery
of the big
bread.
ones at
How
the
much
time.
for an ice cream cone, Daddy? You used to go
Oh,
get ice
nickel
cream.
or a dime.
They were a nickel.
A nickel.
Yeah. But yeah, when I was very small, before I went to school, my father would take my mother to work at the laundry where she worked, and he didn't have to be to work for another half hour or so, so we'd stop at Wild Hack's drugstore, right on the corner, and he would walk in, and this was at 7:30 in the morning or so, and get an ice cream cone for me. So that was basically right after breakfast. I had ice cream. And then he'd take it down to my grandmother's to
And that was a big treat, to get an ice cream cone. You'd go to Orbaker's Dairy or something and get an ice cream cone, that was a big treat. When we'd go shopping with my mother, And after she checked out, she'd give us a penny. We could go to the penny candy store and get a lollipop or a piece of gum or sell them a
Very good.
candy bar. They cost too much.
Okay.
We had penny candy.
Yeah, we had penny candy.
Yeah.
All day
A
suckers,
lot of
they
things
call
that are
them.
5 cents today, or then, would cost you probably 85 or 90 cents today.
At least
Oh,
that.
yeah.
The
I
candy
think
bars
more
were pretty
probably.
good. We had, when we went to movies, we always had one little nickel maybe for something special. We had milk duds, we had nickel wafers.
What do they cost now? Anybody know?
Milk duds
What,
cost like $1.
A dollar.
Yeah.
Milk
You
duds
get
cost
box
like,
at
yeah,
Walmart
box
for a
and
dollar.
then like $1.
Okay.
When I got old enough, so I was driving, we went out on a Saturday. My father loaned me the car and said, "Here's $1. Get a quart of oil, because it burned oil, 35 cents, and fill it up with gas for 65."
Well,
When I was in college,
Uh-huh.
I worked in the summer to help pay my college expenses. And I worked one place, it was in a, where you haul strawberries. They'd pick the strawberries and they'd put them, now I was like 17 or 18. They'd pick the strawberries and put them in the cold storage and they'd freeze like little marbles. And then they'd take them out and we'd have to, scrape with a special little instrument, scrape the husk off or the hull. And we got paid, we worked 10 hours, we got paid 35 cents an hour. I brought home $3.50 after a 10-hour day.
We would love that,
I
wouldn't
also
we?
sold, what?
We would love that, yeah.
I
No.
also sold tickets at the local movie theater one summer, and for the summer job, and I guess I only got paid 35 cents an hour there, and one summer I worked at Orbaker's Dairy scooping ice cream for 25 or 30 cents an hour.
Well, Merrick has one last question he's
Okay.
dying to ask.
Did you drink Dr. Pepper?
Did what?
Did you drink Dr. Pepper?
Dr. Pepper?
No, I
I
didn't.
never heard of it at that age. I don't even know what.
Basically, Coca-Cola is the big thing up over America. And you had a lot of fruit flavors, grape, orange.
Now, in our book, knee-high orange sodas was a big deal, and I remember them, I think.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And grapettes. Does that ring a bell? Grapettes?
No.
And Dr. Peppers.
Is Knee High a brand?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We never had any soda pop, ever, ever in our house growing up.
Because it was
We went
expensive
to-
or unhealthy.
Nick the Greek's was a
Expensive.
candy kitchen. You could go and get a fountain coke, but it was made with syrup and fizz water. It wasn't out of a bottle. It wasn't.
Wait, weren't they like a nickel in our book? The sodas?
My first, I won't say my first, I guess my first job technically was as a paper boy. And I had a very nice part of town because they had good presents at Christmas time. But anyway, before my sophomore year in high school, I doubled up. I had 2 paper routes, and they also worked at the country club washing dishes. And I worked there for about 2 days and decided to look around for another job, but I couldn't find one, so I stuck it up with somebody and said, never, never again. And I got paid 28 cents an hour for that.
Uh-huh.
And, but we did get to eat the same food that he was serving at the dining room. He was a fantastic cook, real great cook. First time I'd ever had eggplant. He used to use French fried eggplant was one of his specialties. And never, ever cleaned his little pan that he cooked in. Discovered it, rubbed it out once in a while with some paper, but always left the basic grease there in order to
Yep.
keep things going.
Well, thank you very much for sharing with us.